University of Botswana Business Clinic, we have the coordinator with us, Thank you so much for organizing this for us and for allowing us to be here. Let's give a round of applause as well.
As already mentioned, my name is Carol Kafela. I am a seasoned communications and marketing specialist, brand manager, CSI expert, public relations practitioner, former journalist, and an avid social runner. That's who I am, and I'm a mother to a beautiful 9-year-old. And with regards to me professionally, I have over 12 years experience in the industry. I'm hoping today to just share with you guys the basics of marketing, basically. Thank you.
Afternoon, everybody. My name is Uzile Marolahautusi, and I'm the brand and marketing manager at Untitled Bank. I've been in marketing now for 11 years. My first degree was in psychology and marketing at the University of Glasgow. Generally, or should I say personally, I am 32 years old. I am a wife and a mom to be now, and I'm very active on social media. All my pages are African Oats, so do follow me when you get the chance. Thank you. Amen.
Definition. So what is marketing? Marketing is a procedure of making the audience or consumers learn about your brand, making them understand about your product and services, and why they should choose your brand over any other brand. So what you ought to do is to make sure that your brand is top of mind when people think about a specific product or service. We have the stages of marketing. There's 4 stages of marketing. One is the idea phase, where marketing begins with the idea of a product or service. And before launching the product in the market, you must ensure certain factors so that your product does not face failure. You must decide what you are selling, what options are available, and how the packaging of your product will look. So the thought process of it, of what am I selling, who am I selling it to, and what do I want it to look like, is very important in the idea process. The second one is research and testing. Research and testing are 2 very important factors of the marketing strategy. Before you introduce your product to the market, you should perform it. It's important to sit with the people that you're trying to sell your product to, find out what their thoughts are, find out if your specific product or service is actually addressing the need that you say it's going to address. Also, it helps to determine setting pricing of your product. When you understand your audience, you understand their level of affordability, you tend to be able to price your product right, because I think we will agree that pricing is a very important factor. And with regards to advertising, like I was saying, we've gone a lot digital. Your digital platforms are a huge space that you can utilize in your advertising, and they are cheap in that they don't cost as much as traditional media advertising does. So a lot of startups go the option of digital media. So it is important to understand what is the plan with your product, where are you going to place it, and do people have access to it? If it's going to be in a small tuck shop, that in order for people to reach, you already are creating barriers to your customers in order for them to reach your product. So the impact of your distribution and sales channel is mostly on how the customers buy your product and the reason behind their purchase. And these are things that you also need to monitor. It's important to inform yourself on the basics of marketing so that you're able to do the bare minimum with regards to getting your product out there. Also, I think it's also very informative at the starting stages for you to interact with your target audience, because that informs how you package or your product and service. Because if you have somebody else doing it for you, then you're not necessarily sure is it for the specific audience you batlang go reach. And these masterclasses, as an example, are also a good place where you can just get insight into how you can do certain things, or the basics of what is needed in which phase of your entrepreneurship journey. So yes, with that said, that is the basics of marketing.
Right now, I'm going to speak more around marketing from the perspective of banking, right? But let me tell you, every single thing that Carol has just mentioned in the basics of marketing applies to even a global brand such as Standard Chartered. All the basics, target audience and knowing it, we do that research with every single product, right? So if I'm about to launch a personal loan product, 600,000 Bula, get it in 3 days, use it for whatever you want to do. I start from asking the questions, who are my target audience? Who can afford for this? Who would qualify for this loan, right? And then figure out exactly what my competitors are doing, what's their pricing point, how do I price mine, and where am I going to communicate to the people that are my target audience, right? So the basics of marketing, they don't just apply to startups. It needs to be something that's inbuilt into your brand, because you're going to do it as much as you grow, as global as you may be, and the more products that your business starts to bring on, each time you need to still go back to those basics, do that research, find out who you're talking to, find out the channels you're going to use. Right now, Carol spoke a little bit about digital marketing. We're going digital as a global entity, right? It's important to have those built into your marketing structure. People are spending more time on their cell phones. How are you going to send your messaging to their cell phones so that they see it? The target audience themselves, right? I think we've gone away from just saying, I want to speak to somebody who's 20 to 25 years old who lives in Gaborone. You need to go deeper. What does that person like? If you want someone like Utsile, what are Utsile's interests, right? Okay, she's a mom-to-be. Maybe when she's going online, she's searching about baby products. Is that the kind of person that I want to target? Or do I want to target somebody who's into gym, for example, if my product is around fitness and active lifestyles, right? You need to get a little bit more specific nowadays so that the marketing spend that you actually use goes directly to the person that you want to seal that deal with, specifically since we've got the help of digital platforms such as social media. And these allow us to be able to type in Utsile's interests and target Utsile specifically. So in terms of banking generally, I think banking marketing strategies are changing very, very quickly. The pandemic has forced us all to go digital, whether we liked it or not. Luckily for Standard Chartered, I'll give a bit more example on Standard Chartered. We went fully digital in 2019 towards the end of 2019. This, again, is just a benefit of our global network. So we are in about 90 different markets across the world. And as you know, COVID affected us all at different times. So by the time it affected us here in Botswana in March, we had already gone fully digital. All our products had gone through research, testing, and we knew they worked. So we were the first bank to actually offer end-to-end account opening. So for example, whilst we're on lockdown and you're sitting at home, you were able to download this SC mobile app and actually open an account without having to go to the branch. You were able to replace your credit card or your debit card if it expired using the app, and it would be delivered to you by a courier service. You were able to even update your KYC, which is so strenuous sometimes, having to go to a branch and have a copy of your mang or whatever it may be. With the app, you were able to actually take a picture and upload it, and we would do all the checking to verify that it's correct in the back end whilst you're sitting at home in lockdown. So as much as we were forced to do it, we came up with it a little bit earlier than the pandemic started. But it's something now that all banks are doing because we don't have a choice. And that's how you also need to ensure that your product moves with the times. If we were still to be the grandma, grandpa bank, you know, we would have lost customers in the space of 18 months during this pandemic because other banks would be offering the same, and you just jump over because it's so much easier to do it, right? But even as we were offering this digital bank, we still had to go back to the basics, make sure that our research is fine, our digital experience for our customers which is the part of the marketing and the product testing. We say that it takes 15 minutes to open a bank account in our advertising. Does it actually take 15 minutes, or is that something we're just saying, right? You have to go, you have to check. And even as you're doing the research before you launch the product, right? Be wary of any hiccups that can come along, right? So maybe it takes 15 minutes when we test it. But when 1,000 people are trying to open an account at the same time, is it still going to take 15 minutes? Is the system going to just automatically break and we'll have to tell people, the system is down, they can't do it? You know, those are the tests that you have to do in your research prior and during launch phase. So the research doesn't stop. So those, again, basics that apply to you, it applies to us. The bank is a business as well. We make money from taking your money. We don't do it for fun. So you need to make sure that the experience that you give your customer, just like a bank, is top-notch and high quality, no matter what product you sell. There are a lot of platforms that we use as a bank. This might not apply as much to you guys, but since you're startups, but it's something that you can possibly use going forward just as you start growing, right? We use a lot of digital marketing, so we don't just focus on social media like your Facebooks and Twitters and Instagram. We also go as much as in-app marketing. So because we're a digital bank, I don't know if any of your businesses have apps or are linked to apps, but we send communication directly to our clients now. So we're not talking about trying to get new clients. We're trying to ensure that the clients that we have on our system are happy, are able to get different products that we have. So for example, if you've got a current account with us, why don't you have a savings account with us? Why don't you have a personal loan with us? Why don't you have a credit card with us? So we will look at what you have, again, research, but internally now, internal research, we will look at you, look at Utile. Okay, Utile's just got a savings account. Let's send messaging for her to move her salary to us and start using a current account. So in content marketing, try not to focus too much on this is the product, this is the product, this is the product. Find creative ways to get your product out. I'm here right now teaching about marketing and thought leadership, right? But maybe you haven't noticed that I've been speaking to my product most of the time, right? I've told you about my digital bank that I want you guys to jump onto subtly, classily, right? I haven't been pushing it in your face, but you got the message. That's exactly how you should take your business on a day-to-day basis. So it's product and education as well. So education relevant to your industry or the products that you're selling. I'll leave it there and give us some time for some engagement and the group discussions as well.
Breaking up into groups first, right? Groups of 5, 4 of you. I want you guys to discuss, based on what you've heard from Carol and Utile so far, how are you going to use the information to sell your first product? How you're going to use what you've learned so far to improve how you sell your products and services. Fair?
My name is Rosemary Katlagomotsele. I'm into horticulture, and currently I'm an intern at Business Botswana. I'll talk about the agricultural industry. Now my agricultural product, my agricultural practice is financed by Eastpart and BAM. Eastpart, they provide the seeds and the fertilizers, while BAM comes and buys the products that we have grown. And sesemonate ka rona ba agriculture, we don't We don't go out and search for our customers ba ka reka our products ka bokae, because BAM sets the market range. With BAM, you can be a contract farmer, or you just clear your products and you just come to BAM and sell them. In the MIIT platform, we can set out a competition whereby you answer a few questions to find out whether you understand what digital marketing is all about and how it can help you. And also, we also use GapSafeHemp to sell business was, and that's even going digital. That's all I can say so far because of time.
I am Paul. We chose to go with purified bottled water, and which happens to be, reason being, two of us in the group just found out what we are both in the purified bottled water industry, and the product is called Laguna Water. It's an active business actually, registered and licensed. But with Laguna Water, it's not a product that we started targeting the retail. It's a product that we started targeting what you call co-branding in business. So it does bottled water for corporates. We are making it seem as, or rather, we are making it quite easy for one to, it's more like the new business card, because we're living in COVID time, so people no longer actually exchange business cards. So Laguna Water currently does corporate branded water, for example, Standard Chartered, University of Botswana. So I'd like to touch more on the marketing and branding side.
Hi guys, how are you? Can you guys please clap your hands 2 times? Again? Again. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about the marketing in Laguna Water, right? That when the water bottle travels, this is also marketing. It reaches points it cannot reach. What do? I pick up a water bottle because it's too hot outside, right? And then I wash it and I put more water inside, right? I hold it, I go home with it, and then what do my kids do? They steal it. They go with it at school. It travels. That's marketing. They read about it. Then next time when somebody picks it up again, they read what's written on the bottle. And then they can get my contacts from there. Another digital way of marketing my product is, at Laguna Water, we've created a QR code bar on the bottle, right? What do? You take your phone, you scan the QR code, and then you get my business card. You get linked to my Facebook, to my WhatsApp, to my Instagram, or any other social media platform.
Hi guys, so we were the group who didn't have a background in selling a product. So our task was to come up with a product. So what we came up with is a house on wheels, the van life experience. So what we wanted to offer was convenience, firstly, because right now we're in the COVID times. We know that we have to sanitize everything, and it would be very convenient for the modern nomad to, you know, instead of checking in with a hotel or a guest house, you don't know who's touched, how many people have been in there, who's touched what. You know, those things are things you should consider in these times. So what we're offering now is a house on wheels. This is for the tourist, the traveler, the farmer. Instead of checking in into a hotel, you can instead just take your van and drive where you need to be at that place and just stay in your house on wheels. So how will we promote the product? We figured we could partner with travel agencies. They could refer us to, you know, the tourists who are looking for accommodation. We could also do word of mouth, maybe, for example, the farmers' exhibitions. We could just tell them about our product, you know, the convenience it offers. Unfortunately, 10 minutes was 10 minutes was too little for us, so that's what we could come up with given that time. Thank you.
Some brilliant ideas. I think one of the most important things that came up that I feel is very important to note is to be your own brand ambassador. You know, we were talking about social influencer branding, but marketing, that comes at a point where you can actually afford such services, where you can pay somebody to speak about your product on a daily basis. So until then, you need to live and breathe your brand. You need to take every single opportunity that comes up to say to somebody, oh, I sell this, and this is what I do. Thank you.
Do you want to make any comments as well, Sina?
Yeah, I can. I think the key thing, but Carol did mention most of the comments that I would have. It's important, if you've got the 5 minutes, let me know in the quickest time exactly what you do, how I can get myself to have that product in my hand. And if possible, yeah, the price points as well. I didn't get that from some of the presentations, what the product was. I got, your strategies and everything, but I was still a little bit confused as to what is it that the people are selling, But yeah, I think Carol touched on almost everything that I would comment on. So well done, guys. Questions. I think I'll start with Yaha Gesalbaka. You were speaking about digital advertising versus traditional, right? Look, I think for our market, specifically Botswana, I don't see a time where traditional advertising would be obsolete. There are markets that I work with, for example, in Kenya, where if you compare their marketing budgets to ours, they are spending 80% of their total budget on digital marketing. That doesn't apply to us, one, because the digital penetration in Botswana is not 100%. Not everybody has a smartphone that they can use. Even just with banking, a lot of people don't use apps, but maybe they'll use USSD because badirisa sedilane. So if we were to say we're going to do all our marketing via digital, there's going to be a big client base that we're not going to be able to reach. And again, even if we had the digital penetration, some people just feel comfortable, reading a newspaper and not going on online platforms for different reasons. It could be mental health, it could be that they just prefer turning a page, just to turn a page, right? That's their preference. So they'll stick to the traditional forms of consuming content, which could be a newspaper, or pay attention to street polls when they're at a traffic light, right? So for Botswana, I don't, as much as it's growing, and it is the more affordable and easier route to go is digital. There's no way we can fully go digital currently, and I don't see us being able to go digital even just in the next 10 years, to be quite honest. So I would say, you said you're in an advertising agency. Look at more innovative ways to go digital, right? You've got your standard billboards, you've got combi advertising, but what else? People were talking about advertising on water bottles. Is that something that we can, it's not digital, but is it something that we can start looking at for corporates and small businesses, right? Different other methods which are still traditional and not necessarily digital, but you can have a client base for. The key is just innovation and being innovative with different platforms that people can use.
One thing that I have really also learned myself is that marketing is not just putting up a post, right? There's a whole lot that comes in before that. It means that you need to understand who your market, who your target market is, who are you posting to, right? And before you even go there, how are you developing your product and your service? All that necessary research, guys, it's a lot of work, but it's important, hey? And then again, before I let you guys go, we have to do the most important thing, is to say thank you to Futuremakers and Standard Chartered Bank for making this possible. Thank you to our beautiful guests for making this possible. Thank you to University of Botswana Business Clinic for making this possible. And thank you to Young Africa Botswana as well for bringing these people here and finding it necessary for us to learn from them. And thank you. A round of applause for you guys and the amazing job that you did. Again, a round of applause.